In this lesson, we're going to look at how to work with colors. Working with color is very simple. You simply have to set a color that you want for a particular object and then draw the object in that color. Now, there's two ways to set the color depending on whether you're drawing lines or a shape. If you're drawing lines, then you're going to use the set color method of the graphics object to determine the color for the line. If you're going to draw an object, such as a rectangle in a color, then you're going to first set the color, then use a different method. For example, for rectangles, you would use the fill rect method or fill oval method for ovals. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that in just a moment. First of all, I need to talk a little bit about color values. There's two ways to set colors in Java. One way is by setting the RGB value. That stands for red, green, blue, and that's a mixture of red, green, and blue. The other way is to use what I call a color constant, such as color.red or color.black or color.blue. And I'll show you how to do that also in just a minute. So let's get started. I've created a new program called colors.java, and I've already got the code up here, again, to try to save you some of the drudgery of watching me type out all this code. So the first thing we want to do is draw a line in a particular color. So here's our code for drawing a line. So before it, we're going to add some code for setting the color. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new color. And we want to use a red, green, blue value. And I'm going to put RGB here as placeholders for where the RGB values are going to go. Now we're going to take a quick diversion and look at what RGB values are. Bring up a web page. Here's a RGB color chart, and I just picked one from Google. This is no plug for this company or anything. It's the first one that came up. So you see all these different colors. The colors are there on the right. For example, here's blue. Well, blue's RGB value is 0 red, 0 green, 255 blue, being the most blue you can have. Notice how shades of blue, like steel blue, have more red, more green, and less blue. If you go down the scales here, for example, is red, where red is all 255, and then green and blue are 0, 0. So anyway, you can use RGB values to pick shades. If you're like me, colors are pretty much red, green, blue, black, white. But if you want a particular shade, then you want to be able to set a red, green, blue value. So let's just pick one. Let's pick one that's somewhat dark. How about dark olive green? So I'm going to copy this value. Then we're going to go back to our program. And we're going to place it in our statement to create a new color. Then I have to change those dashes to commas, which I'll do right now. So the first thing we have to do is create a color. Then we have to call a method called setColor to set the color to the color we want. Now that's going to be the color that everything is drawn with in our graphics window. So let's take a look. We're going to save that. Let's clear our screen. Compile it. And then view it. And it may be hard to tell, but that is the green that we picked. Let's pick another color, one that maybe will show up a little bit better. Let's try fire brick. So I'm going to set that, go back to our code. Save it. Back to our command prompt window, compile, and then run. And there you see that the color's changed. So that's one way to set the color, and that's how you draw a line of a particular color using RGB values. Now another way to do it is using something called a color constant. Let's comment out this line code and uncomment our rectangle code. So now we've set the color to red. And if we want to draw a rectangle in red, we're going to change the method from draw line to fill rect. and that's going to draw the rectangle specified by the parameters and then fill it with the color that's set. Let's give that a shot. Compile and then run, and sure enough, there's our red rectangle. Let's do one more. Let's move our commenting out down to here. Uncomment our oval. Start the comment below that. There we go. Set our color to green. Change draw oval to fill oval. Save. Compile. I obviously made a mistake on my commenting, so let's go back to the code. All right, so that's always a problem with commenting. I commented out the initial declaration, so let's save that. Try it again. And there's our green oval or green circle. So now we've seen how to work with colors in Java graphics. We can either create a color using RGB values, create a color object, and then set the color to that color object as we did for the line, or we can use a color constant with the set color method. And then if we're drawing a shape, we use fill rectangle or fill oval or whatever the shape is to draw the shape in the color specified by the set color method. So that wraps up this lesson on using colors, and now we're going to move on to our exercise for this chapter.